Hello, my name is Evan Hill, and I'm going to be teaching the Formal Languages course. This is an interesting course in the fact that it has kind of been removed from curriculum overall and kind of split into two different courses. So originally you took a discrete mathematics course, then you would take formal languages as a means to kind of expand upon some of the topics that are covered in discrete, and that would be applied in a later programming languages course, which was more into lexical analysis and parsing and things of that nature. So it kind of stood as this intermediate computational course. Now, it's still, in my opinion, a very, very good course in terms of trying to understand a lot of the more, I guess, complex aspects of computation in general. So we cover them in discrete in the form of finite state machines and a very, very brief introduction to Turing machines. And we don't really get too far into things like P versus NP, anything that gets more into complex topics, would be moved into more of a kind of a senior level course or even a graduate level course, because this course is actually going to be, it's kind of a subset of an existing course in our graduate program that covers, the theory of computation, which I know is kind of I think it was one of our 8,000 courses and whatnot. Fantastic course, honestly. This is kind of a subset of that, because it has the same book, and it has a lot of the same topics, but it's more directed in trying to bridge that gap to kind of go from the lower level discrete mathematics topics into our more high level lexical analysis topics and parse trees and stuff like that, making your own analyzers and whatnot, which some people have probably already done at this point. But this is more kind of filling those gaps that were probably glanced over, because again, this course was split into two, and it doesn't really get into a more thorough analysis of why some of these topics exist. So we kind of really start with your basic finite state machines, but we kind of expand upon the idea of that to go between deterministic versus non-deterministic. So we have DFAs versus NFAs, and kind of an analysis of the differences between the two of them, because both are very, very useful, but sometimes when it gets to DFAs, they can get very, very lengthy and almost just borderline obnoxious in terms of trying to, understand them, parse them, and everything. It gets really, really murky. So we kind of simplify it to NFAs because they're far more flexible. We can build up to regular languages, regular expressions are covered in this, which is a whole topic in and of itself. And eventually you kind of move on to different other models like pumping lemmas and different types of context-free grammars and whatnot, and eventually move on to the foundations of parse trees. And I think kind of want to round this off with maybe some topics and discussions further into Turing machines, and then a little bit of discussion on P versus NP and that whole debacle later on. So basically what I want to do this course is make it a decent, knowledge bridging like it originally was, to kind of get from those low level discrete mathematics topics to your higher level, actual computation style content. So that's my goal for all this. Hopefully everything goes well. Hope you learned something, and see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoy the course.